Ja, hallöchen meine Lieben, willkommen zurück zu Let's Read One by One. Das erste Mal beim Missing Billy 4 stehen geblieben. Und jetzt geht's los. The same place, the same thing. The cavern that held the barrier was unutterably vast. Alter, die scheiß Autos. Maybe it was a trick of the light. Maybe the pulsating wall waved dropped the twilight that seeped through it, altered the cave's dimensions. But to Frisk it seemed like it could hold every monster in the underground with room left over. He wouldn't have been surprised to learn that the entirety of Mount Abbott was hollow, and this was its interior. Willst du was trinken? The barrier size. Blöder Hund. The barrier's size must have only worsened the monster's hopelessness. Standing near it, you could feel your skin thrumming from its power. Asgore knelt in front of him, one hand clasped over the gash on his breastplate. The 6 souls quivered in their jars, emitting their unfinished rainbow of light. "After everything I have done to hurt you," he murmured, and even in this low, hurt tone, his voice was so deep that Frisk could feel it rumble in his soles. "You would rather stay down here and suffer than live happily on the surface." He remembered every time he did died at Asgore's hand, wrapped in flames until he did felt his soul crack in two, only to wake up again outside the door or to the barrier's cavern. The first time he did breathe so shocked by the resemblance tutorial that he hadn't even found it in himself to avoid the king's attacks. Then he did try to talk him down, again and again, fighting for the words that would raise Asgore's head and make him understand, unable to find them before he was struck down. Finally, he realized that he would have to fight, and then he did die again. He had no practice at actually attacking anyone with a stick. "Human, I promise you, for as long as we remain here, my wife and I will take care of you as best as we can." Asgore's face had lit up. Frisk wanted to approach him, apologize somehow for what was to come. He knew he had to keep his distance. His grip on the knife tightened. "We could be like a family." Gleaming white pellets harrowed Asgore's kneeling body. Frisk looked away. He heard a single, strangled gasp and the sound of dust sifting to the ground. When he looked up again, he saw the soul, the pure white lights shuddering above Asgore's remains. Then another pellet drifted cheerfully downward and struck the light and shattered it into prisms, falling down, fading out, already gone. And now, here was his best threat. "You idiot! You haven't learned a thing!" That voice again, high in pride. High in pride and laced with cheer like Sinonite. Buried deep underneath, Frisk could still hear the echo of Asriel. Remembered that this was the first face he did seen. Deceptive in more ways than one. Normally like a child's sketch, penciled in eyes, toothless smile, those lines of black moving seamlessly around the surface like ink rolling on water. But then it would distort like beauty, gain dimensions and darkness out of nowhere, and the eyes, already lusterless and black, would crack open and form holes that continued right through the back of his head and into parts unknown. They did so now, and as vines burst from the earth and circled the soul jars, cracked them open like eggs, and the face grew fangs. It seemed to decay. It dripped a vicious, colorless liquid that sizzled when it hit the ground. "In this world," Flowey shrieked, It's kill or be killed. Then Frisk stood over Flowey's broken body. He remembered the terror he did feel that the first time. Deliberate, certainly. Every aspect of the experience tailored to sap his will to fight. That momentary feeling of being nowhere at all, floating in empty dark space before he was yanked back to whatever warped was facsimile, yes, wo kenne ich nicht, of reality Flowey had created with his stone souls. Flowey's face blown up bigger than the core, rending down at him in a voice that made his bones shudder. The twitching, cackling nightmare that had descended on him when he detailed his ground. Ja, ich kann nicht so viel, das Auto steht irgendwann, müssen wir leben. But that been a long time ago. Flowey was always so entranced. Ich kann noch nicht nächstes Mal pausieren, wenn ein Auto vorbeifährt. Always so entranced by his own power that he never noticed how Frisk's face no longer betrayed a hint of fear, or how his unceasing barrage of incomprehensible attacks were dodged without effort of concentration. The knife really did make things so much easier. This was the only time he was ever able to get so close, and as ever he was surprised by how small he really was when he wasn't constantly mutating himself. He barely came up halfway to Frisk's knee with his thumb fully extended, and right now he was hunched over, his petals tattered, his face blackened. The barrier wavered where the human souls had escaped their captivity and burst through. The barrier wavered where the human souls had escaped their captivity and burst through to the other side. If Frisk wanted, he could step right through in their wake, before that wall solidified once again. Flowey turned his head just enough for his photo-negative eye to be visible. What are you doing? Do you really think I have learned anything from this? He sagged again. No. Frisk stared down at him. Sparing me won't change anything. Even now he could hear the smirk in that voice. Killing me is the only way to end this. Frisk held up the knife. He turned it back and forth in his hand. The dying twilight cocked the blade and briefly stained it in a bloody red. Flowey turned again. His grin was a pale crescent. He watched the knife rise. I knew you had it in you. And fall. Wait, what? Working quickly, Frisk used the blade of the knife to carve out a circle of earth around Flowey. He saw through the dirt, levered it loose. As Flowey's face snapped this way and that, his pencil sketch eyes struggling to keep up, Frisk reached down and scooped up dirt, Flowey and all, and held him in the palm of his hand. What do you think What do you think you're doing? Flowey's scared, smudged face turned up to his, gnashing its teeth. You can't do this! You can't do this! Frisk turned and walked away from the barrier. Hat den jetzt ausgegraben oder was? Geil. Hey, I'm talking to you. You think I'm just going to stand there and take it? He summoned up all his remaining power and attacked. This resulted in a single white pilot drifting down towards Frisk's head like a sad snowflake. Frisk didn't even have to dodge. His leisurely stroll was enough to avoid it. Flowey stared, then thrashed inside the cloud of earth to little avail. Do you even care about the barrier, you idiot? It's going to close up again any second now, and then... His mouth turned toothy. You'll be stuck down here with me, and I'll make you pay for this. I'll kill you. I'll kill everyone. I'll kill everyone you... Frisk looked down at him and put a finger to his lips. Shh. Flowey's grin fled. He blinked. It seemed at a loss. Then his smile returned again, thin and sharp. Oh, I get it. Just killing me isn't enough for you. You want to have some fun with me first, huh? His face molded itself into Asgard's rotted visage. Maybe you want to get revenge for that useless king. It moved into Frisk's own features. Or maybe. The eyes popped open, full of darkness. You're just a lot sicker than you look. Frisk had reached to the throne room. The last vestiges of sunlight lay warm on his skin. Birds were singing, flowers were blooming. Oh, Alter, muss dieser Satz sein? He looked up at the cave ceiling and still couldn't see the sky. Ja, hat das gerade Lust angekommen. Lesen wir mal weiter. Ich glaube, ich stehe jetzt da stehen geblieben. He looked up at the cave ceiling and still couldn't see the sky. He had always wondered where that light came from. The stones up there had a quartz-like green. It was possible that the sun down here was only a reflection of what came from the surface. The golden flowers grew thick. The air was red with their scent. Boy, King Asgard should care about these flowers. Definitely more than he cared about his subjects, am I right? They'll probably be glad he's dead. Flowey's usual twisted chirpiness was coming back, but it was an uphill battle. His gaze still darted this way and that, and his smile wavered around his outline, as though he had to make a serious effort to keep it in the right shape. Frisk could feel roots screaming like worms against his palm. The anti-shaman and the bridge stood empty. The monsters had dispersed and gone to await news of victory or defeat. Frisk pushed the elevator's call button with the hilt of the knife and stepped in when it arrived. It stood quietly in place with Flowey head out at his side. Flowey kept, was das für ein Wort? Surreptitiously glancing at Frisk's face for any sign of his intentions. Judging by the way his skull got a little deeper every time he looked, he wasn't finding much success. Nicht so viele Geräusche machen, ne? Nicht so viele Geräusche machen. Reicht schon, wenn die Autos die ganze Zeit Autos herumfahren. Frisk walked down the hall up the stairs. On the steps he could see numerous footprints, claw marks, and suspicious stains where the monsters had trooped up and out. Asgard's house stood empty. The only sound was the tick of an unseen clock. It's a nice place, right? Flowey observed. And no one's ever going to live here again. Hey, it could be worse. If we hadn't killed him then, he would have just lived here by himself forever. You know, like she's doing. Frisk carried him to the kitchen and carefully placed the knife on the counter. Then he opened the oven door. Flowey's grin fell so far it almost literally dropped off his face, sliding down to his petals. Whoa, wait, don't do anything crazy. Frisk put out the oven rack. You got all this time without hurting a single person, now you're going to do this to me? What is wrong with... Frisk pulled out a pie tin, replaced the rack, shut the door. He slid a handful of dirt and flour into the tin. He put the tin on the counter. He turned on the sink. He washed and dried his hands. Dann will ich noch he schreiben. He washed and dried the knife. Then he picked up the knife and the pie tin again and left the kitchen. Flowey now appeared to be thinking very hard of something to say. He'd grown himself a brow just so that he could choose it. Now the bedroom. Scheiß Auto. Now the bedroom. Frisk set the pie tin down on the right-hand bed amongst the menagerie of stuffed animals. He went over to the opened box and put the knife back in. He closed the box back up as best as he could. You're putting it back? Why are you putting it back? Who do you think's going to come get it? Hey, I'm talking to you. Flowey was making a game attempt to rock himself out of the pie tin, but by the looks of it, he was still too weak to do much more than feebly drape his shoes over the tin's edge. Frisk imagined that's why he always made sure no one get too close. He was lightning quick so long as he could burrow, but get him off the ground, and he was immobile as any other flower. Any other flower they could murder you with friendliness, Palace. But that was off the table now, too, as another limp attack from Flowey proved his latest projectile barely scorched the floor. Frisk picked the tin back up, now holding it in both hands so it wouldn't rock around as much. He left the house, took the elevator down to the core. Okay, Flowey said. Let's see, what are you planning? But you did better move quick, because... He slowly turned to face Frisk, his mouth full of throwing fangs. Once I get my strength back... Frisk wouldn't even meet his gaze. His nightmarish face turned irritated. He proceeded through the core, making sure to keep his distance from the sea of plasma. The heat was tremendous, even with Icewolf's diligent cooling efforts. He walked down the outer bridge and into the MTT hotel lobby, where Metaton's glorious fountains statuary continued to violate both the carpet and the nearly every safety code law known to monster kind. The usually crowd of monsters was clustered around the busted elevator to the Capitol. He saw several of them turn to him with wary eyes. Flowey noticed too and tittered. Oh boy, here we go. I bet they are wondering if you are back from the fight. Whatever happened to their king? He turned again. Well, should we tell him? I shout it out loud as I can, if you like. Ready? Frisk stared down at him, then held out the pie tin to the monsters. Flowey looked at them, then back to Frisk, then back to the monsters. Angry eyebrows appeared on his face. It's no fun if you're just gonna let me. Geil. Frisk excited and carried him out to the front door. The elevator crowd watched them leave. As a slime, I'm puzzled, said the slime, who was puzzled. Geil. Ich mache erstmal einen Cut und ich glaube, habe erstmal gut aufgenommen, ist davon gleich erst wieder. So. Dann bis zum nächsten Mal, Leute. Auf Wiedersehen.